Hello everyone and welcome back to another Ross Reviews, where today we are reviewing a WH Statesman that has been brought back to life. This has got the LS1, it has been supercharged, and this thing is going to be a lot of fun. Now I'm going to selfishly plug my own merch here today. I am currently wearing the Bear the World hoodie, and for this review it is probably not the ideal attire. So thankfully I did not forget about you guys with the Holdens. We do have LSA the World shirts as well, and in hoodies. The site's alive now. Link in the description. Let's go take this for a drive.
Now I just have to tell you about the backstory on this particular Statesman, because this truly warms my heart, guys. This car is currently owned by Gibbons Holden here in Perth, and since the Holden brand has sadly been axed by GM, they decided to keep their workshop boys entertained by fixing up an old Aussie classic, this Statesman. Purchased from an old farm down south, the car was unregistered and had been sitting in a paddock for years. They towed it back to their workshop, got it running, cleaned it up, and passed registration. They didn't stop there though. They then decided to go to town with this old Statesman and have now currently built it up with the following mods. The LS1 now has a HTV 2300 Harrop supercharger fitted to it. It's been tuned. It has HSV brakes all round. They've put 19-inch Simmons Yeah Bud wheels, headers coilovers, full X-Force 3-inch exhaust system with the headers. It's had a closed door respray, True Track diff installed, and they've even changed the diff ratios from a 307 to a 346 now. Have a listen to this thing.
Now, driving this WH Statesman, this thing is awesome, I gotta say, and big credit to Gibbons Holden for actually taking the time to save this Statesman, because when they got it, it was nothing like this, and you see it now and you drive it, it is just so good to see these old Holdens get restored and get shown a little bit of love once again. Now these were launched back in 1999 and they were carried through up until 2001. This was kind of the top of the range for a Holden here, these Statesmans, and it was very nice for the time. This particular one had the 5.7 liter LS1 V8 up front, was naturally aspirated, and it made about 300 horsepower from factory. Now with this having the supercharger fitted, it's making over 435 wheel horsepower, and it is a monster, this thing, it really is. Now these were only offered as a 4-speed automatic. Unfortunately, there were no manuals offered for the Statesmans, and it is a little bit of a shame because I have previously reviewed the VY Senator, and although 99% of those are a 4-speed auto as well, they did actually let you option them with a 6-speed Tremec, and this particular car would be so well suited with a 6-speed manual box. It just would. And when you just look at this car, the big long wheelbase of it, it is a big car when you sit in this thing, and there's no getting around it. You do sit a little bit high up as well, but this is riding on headers, coilovers all around, and it drives surprisingly well. There's no getting around. It is a big car. A lot of people will say it's a boat, but now with the supercharger, it's a speedboat. And on the interior here, it's actually a pretty nice place to be. The seats are comfortable. The steering is nice and easy. You've got this kind of faux wood grain down the center here. We do have an aftermarket infotainment system that they have installed, but besides that, on the interior, it really is as standard. You even got this nice kind of analog clock up here. Gauges are very simple, easy to read. It's a pretty nice place to be. Now, price, from new, these were about $57,000. And, you know, it was the luxury top trim, you know, the Statesman Holden back in the day. So, of course, it was going to be a little bit expensive. Now, on the used market, I honestly think, after looking through Car Sales Gumtree, this really is one of the best bargain V8 Holdens you can get right now, because the prices have just gone through the roof, and for whatever reason, these WH Statesmans still seem to be fairly reasonable. A cheap one that needs some love can pick them up for about $5,000. And if you get one that's got a lot of work done to it, looks really clean, it's fairly tidy, you're gonna look around that $15,000 mark. And in today's market, that is a really good buy. Now, you do have a couple of buttons down here where your shifter is, which is a power button, and then you have your traction control button. So you push that, you do get a little power light comes on the gauge cluster. Not sure if it actually gives you any more power. I think it would probably just let you hold the revs out a little bit longer here. And if I'm being honest, I don't really feel any difference, but we'll leave it on. And just getting a bit of sound down here. That supercharger sounds so good, and the X-Force exhaust that is on this car, it makes a lovely rumble, I gotta admit. And yeah, this thing sounds bloody awesome, it really does. The best thing about that supercharger up front is that it's just so noticeable in this car. You know, even just idling, you can hear this thing just running in front of you. It's such a great sound. And when you get on it, it's addictive. It's actually really impressive because this LS1 from factory, being about 300 horsepower at the crank, we've essentially doubled the horsepower on this car now, being 435 wheel. So it is a night and day difference for sure, and we are very thankful that we have the upgraded HSV brakes on this car, because yeah, you need them. Now, 0 to 100 in this car, it is claimed at about 7 seconds. So being supercharged, I would expect it definitely to do better. There is no obviously launch control or anything in this car. You just gotta make it do what it can do. So here we go, just gonna launch it here, and and it struggles with traction even with the 275s at the back. So yeah, it is impressive, this car. Wow, instant power with a supercharger. So let's have a look at the draggy, what that did, because it felt fast. Now, this did 6 seconds flat, and this thing was struggling for traction, even again with those 275s at the back. And that's the biggest thing with this car. Look, it is a heavy car, it is a big car. This thing weighs 1.7 ton, and to get 6 seconds, we're doing pretty good. You know, we could get a better time, I bet, you know, if we warmed up the tires, we were on the right road conditions. But just out here, that's pretty good for a car this size and this age. And let me tell you, that was, it felt bloody fast. This thing revs out about 5,500 RPM, which doesn't sound like a lot, but let me tell you, it actually takes quite a bit of time to get there, and this thing is not slow as it approaches it. It is just, the speedo is traveling at a much faster rate than that RPM, because yeah, this just feels, It's savagely quick. And I gotta say though, with everyone calling me the Ford guy, it feels good to finally get in the driver's seat of a Holden again, because I love them all. Anything Aussie, and with a nice V8 in it, you know, it just tickles my fancy. And this car, this WH Statesman, it's a bloody beauty. It really is. Again, I'm gonna say it. It's the 4-speed auto that is the only Achilles heel to this car, because it's got all the fruit, it's got all the good mods on it, and it's nearly perfect. It's just, you just can't benefit from all the parts with this 4-speed, because it's laggy. It doesn't let you drop down quick enough. It doesn't let you really hear the car loud enough and get that sound and excitement out of it until you're well and truly in jail speed. So it's really hard to get this car to be fun at lower speeds, which if you had a 6-speed manual, it would just cure all those problems. Now I'm going to finish the video off here today, so a huge thank you goes out to Gibbons Holden here in Perth for allowing me to take out their WH Statesman. The fact that they are showing this old girl so much love, it's amazing to see, and this thing is so much fun out on the road. Now I have left a link for their Facebook down below, so make sure you go and chuck them a like. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and we'll see you on that next video.